What if I told you that behind the infectious beats and electrifying performances of BTS lies a universe? Get ready, because today we're diving into the Bangtan Universe, a world where time loops, enigmatic characters, and a mystical cat intertwine. So grab your headphones and let's follow the wormhole to uncover the hidden truths. Thanks for joining us. If you're new here or coming back for more, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share this with your friends. Let's get started. The first thing you need to know about the Bangtan Universe, or BU for short, is that it's a fictional story. While the characters have the same first names as the members, they are just that, characters, and nothing in these videos is related to the members' personal lives. The story follows the characters Seokjun, Yoongi, Hoseok, Namjoon, Jimin, Taehyung, and Jungkook's friendship, and their fated destinies from high school through a series of unfortunate circumstances that tear the group apart and leave them imprisoned, permanently wounded, or even dead. Seokjun finds himself traveling through time in a desperate attempt to save everyone else. In the end, he learns that saving them includes saving himself in the process. The BU unravels slowly across several different sources of material. Our first clear look at the BU came in the 2015 hit I Need You. From there, the story spread through BTS's music videos, short films, concert VCRs, album notes, webtoons, and more. And the BU is far from over. We've had confirmation from RM and Bang PD himself that the HYYH will return in 2025. In other words, there's more yet to come. There are two ways to learn about and follow the storyline of the BU, the release order method and the informational method. This channel will use the informational method, summarizing the story in chronological order. This rapid-fire quick overview will contain major spoilers, but as you'll realize when you watch our other videos, there are still tons of Easter eggs to enjoy. Although I Need You is often considered to be the official start of the BU, we can actually see traces of the story back to the school era and the BTS Begins concert VCRs. This material shows us how the friends first meet as 7 strangers who are late to school and are forced to clean an old storage room as punishment. Clearly unsupervised, they turn this room into their secret gathering place where they create memories and build a bond. They become a group of misfits, cutting classes to hang out, leaving school, and providing a family that each desperately needs. Seokjun, in year 19, is returning to Korea after living in America for several years. He is kept in line by fear and the desire to please the people who matter to him. As the good kid, he is desperate for his father's approval after his mother's death. He is convinced to be good at Songju-jil High School. Yoongi is the tortured artist. His love-hate relationship with the piano, his first love, is born from the pain of his mother's tragic death in a fire. Hoseok, the mood maker and linchpin of the group, grew up in an orphanage after his mother abandoned him in an amusement park. He hides his feelings of abandonment and fear behind a bright smile and fake illnesses. Namjoon, a survivor and a bit of a lost boy, grows up too soon and works several part-time jobs while in school to care for his sick father, his mother, and his younger brother. Jimin is the broken angel. He is a sweet, perfect kid in many ways, but a horrific event in his childhood has led him into mental illness and seizures. His parents are ashamed of him and try to hide him from their friends, often leaving him locked in the hospital. They move him around from school to school every time he has a seizure. Taehyung is the group's wild card. He can be charming and funny, but secretly he's full of anger and resentment. He and his sister live with an abusive father, and their mother has abandoned the family. Taehyung does his best to shield his sister and his friends from the problems in his life. Jungkook is the abandoned child who has spent most of his life feeling overlooked by his mother and her new family, but the friend group gives him the family he craves and pushes out the emptiness threatening to consume him. For several months, their brotherhood is central in their lives. They rely on each other and even visit the beach together one memorable day and yell their dreams at the sea. But all good things must come to an end. By June, the friendship has broken up, as each of them is pulled away by his own unspoken troubles. They could smile while they were together, but alone, despair and depression, and even desperation overwhelms all of them. Namjoon drops out of high school, moves away, and takes on a dangerous job to support his family. Eventually he comes back, not telling anyone, and ends up living in a shipping container. The principal forces Seokjin to reveal the boy's hideout. And when a teacher finds Yoongi and Jungkook inside, he hits Jungkook and Yoongi comes to his defense. This leads to Yoongi's expulsion, and he begins avoiding his friends and drinking heavily. Seokjin is ashamed of betraying his friends but feels helpless to act otherwise. He finishes the school year, and then his father moves him to a school in LA. Jimin has a seizure while he's with Hoseok, who leaves him at the hospital, but Jimin's mother sends him away, and this is the last time anyone sees or hears from Jimin for 2 years. Although they don't know it, he remains in the hospital that entire time. Hoseok couldn't help Jimin, but he quietly keeps tabs on Taeyoung. He also ages out of the orphanage, gets his own place, and works a part-time job. Jungkook keeps hoping to see the boys together again and visits the hideout daily, but they never meet there again. Jungkook's friends were his family, but everything fell apart. He falls into despair, but he and Taeyoung remain in school. Almost 3 years later, on April 11th, Seokjin's father calls him back to Korea, probably so he can start grooming him to work in the company. On his way to the event, Seokjin stops at a gas station and finds Namjoon working there. He doesn't stop to say hi, but the thought plagues him. He missed his friends and wondered where they were. A month later, on May 22nd, he decides to find out where the boys are now and goes to see Namjoon, but he's not at the gas station. Namjoon is in jail after fighting with a customer. He's too poor to settle the case, and he's too proud to want to. Seokjin goes to visit him and learns Hoseok had an accident and is in the hospital. Namjoon doesn't know where Jimin and Taeyoung are, but he knows that Jungkook and Yoongi are dead. Shocked, Seokjin leaves the jail and sees Taeyoung being led inside. He has been arrested for the murder of his father. Seokjin goes back to the beach where they had such a great day, and he wonders what went wrong. In a dreamlike sequence, he meets a talking cat that asks if he thinks he can save them all. Seokjin says he'd do anything. The next morning he wakes up on April 11th. Again. He goes through most of the same actions as before, but with slight variations. But he doesn't realize he's repeating them. This happens several times, and finally he wakes up to the sound of a voice. It's not the voice of the cat though. It's a voice without a name, flitting past him like a cherry blossom petal on the wind, or a passing butterfly. It says it's worried that Seokjin has already been lost, and it helps him by telling him how to remember the time loops. Again, Seokjin wakes up on April 11th, and this time he remembers. He has a second chance to save his friends, a chance he takes, again and again and again. Each change alters the story, creating a butterfly effect that he has to account for. Seokjin already knew that on April 11th, Namjoon gets in a fight with a customer and ends up in jail. Soon he finds that on the same night, Jungkook falls off a building and dies. Since he hasn't been in contact with any of the others, and since his family doesn't seem to care, he stopped caring about himself. Meanwhile, Yoongi always distances himself from the others, thinking he will hurt people. Yoongi burns to death in a hotel or hotel fire, but the date keeps changing because of the butterfly effect. On May 10th, Hoseok falls and hits his head on a bridge due to his narcolepsy, and he goes into a hospital. While there, he has a fall in the stairwell and breaks his ankle so badly that he'll never be able to dance again. On May 12th, Jimin tries to drown himself in the bathtub at the hospital. Later, Taeyoung kills his father because he snaps after seeing his father hitting his sister. Seokjin loops back in time again and again, but he's not able to save all of his friends. He tried to keep notes on who is where and what is happening, but he can't save them all. Each time he fails, he starts over. He promises to save them and meet again at the beach, a return to the good days of their youth. Finally, Seokjin realizes he can't save everyone by himself. He takes all of his knowledge and leaves clues and notes for each of the boys to see, so they can save each other. Seokjin meets with Namjoon, saving him from the fight. Hoseok ends up inviting all of them to a party in Namjoon's container house. Yoongi calls Jungkook to save him from jumping. Jungkook saves Yoongi from the fire he sets. Hoseok still falls, but at the hospital, Jimin saves him from falling down the stairs. Then Hoseok meets up with the others, and they go back to the hospital to break Jimin out. Seokjin also uses Hoseok to save Taeyoung. Hoseok drops him off at his home, and Seokjin calls him before he leaves. He asks him to speak to Taeyoung in person, and this stops the fight. Taeyoung doesn't kill his father. Finally, Seokjin is able to get past May 22nd, the day he was stuck on, by keeping everyone alive. When he does, a new set of problems emerge. They make it to the beach and even to a cottage where they plan to celebrate and hang out like old times. But a series of events occurs through the loops, creating a butterfly effect, and with it comes negative consequences. Taehyung already suspects that something is wrong before Seokjin tries to tell the others about his time traveling. He begins by mentioning high school, and Taehyung asks if he's going to tell them about betraying their hideout and getting Yoongi expelled. The two boys begin to fight and the celebration breaks up. Then everyone is forced to find their own way home. Unfortunately, Jungkook, unbeknownst to his friends, is hit by a vehicle and hospitalized. When he finally wakes up, he doesn't remember who or what hit him, but he thinks the car's engine had a familiar sound. Even though the boys are all alive and free, they are no longer together. Instead of returning to the happy times together of their youth, they must face themselves in the mirror of the girls they meet. Girls who seem a lot like them. Jungkook meets a girl who helps him get through his recovery. Yoongi meets a girl who helps him make music again. He becomes consumed with his work and his phone isn't used. When he charges it, he gets a call from Jimin telling him about Jungkook's accident. Yoongi can't get himself to go into the hospital. However, at the hospital, the girl Yoongi works with is playing a song that he played in high school, and Jungkook recognizes it. He notices, though, that Yoongi isn't there. Taehyung sees a girl stealing from a store where he works. They meet a couple of times more and become friends. They put graffiti on a bus stop, and when running from the police, Taehyung gives himself up to protect her. After escaping the hospital, Jimin lives with Hoseok. He goes to a dance class led by Hoseok and collides with his partner. He immediately runs to the bathroom where he cleans himself off as the blood reminds him of the secret trauma he experienced at the Flower Arboretum. Hoseok, however, runs to the hospital with the girl and hurts his ankle. Namjoon becomes interested in a girl he sees daily, but he doesn't have the courage to approach her. Instead, he leaves her a hairband while she's sleeping on the bus. Seokjin, finally freed from looping, picks up a red diary dropped by a passing girl. He uses it to impress her, seeming like the perfect guy who does everything just right and who knows everything she likes. He even finds the one thing she couldn't get on her own, the Smeraldo flowers. Seokjin finds a shop that sells them, but they won't come until August 30th. He wanted to confess his love to her and give her the flowers. Unfortunately, when the day comes, she is struck and killed by a truck as she runs to meet him. Glass breaks. It's April 11th, again. But suddenly, Seokjin has a new problem. That Namjoon dies in a container fire on September 30th, and no matter how many times Seokjin tries to save him, it doesn't work. So Seokjin strikes another deal with the cat, and unknowingly trades his positive memories of his friends for the chance to save Namjoon's life. This era of the BU mostly follows the story through Seokjin's friends who, except for Jungkook, are trying to save Seokjin. Their destined fates play out even more clearly this time. Everyone notices that something is wrong with Seokjin because he's cold towards them and seems not to know about their memories together. But Taehyung is finally able to act on his dream visions with the help of Namjoon. They discover a plot to redevelop the area where Namjoon's container, Hoseok's orphanage, and Yoongi's studio are. The plot includes a lot of criminal activities, including one that will lead to Namjoon dying in a fire, and Seokjin's father is behind all of it. He's an assemblyman, and he's the leader of the redevelopment committee. Namjoon and Taehyung work together with Yoongi and Jimin to unravel more of the mystery, and you can learn about all the other important things they found out by watching our video summarizing the Bangtan Universe Part 2. You'll also find out why Hoseok wasn't involved in solving the mystery. In this video, we'll just say that eventually Seokjin realizes he needs his friend's help, and they take him back to the high school storage room, which meant so much to them. There, they find a cabinet containing a diary that belonged to Seokjin's father, whose name is also etched on the wall with a list of other students. The diary had a note on a date saying that this is where it all started, and as Seokjin reads it, he discovers that his father was a time traveler too. Both of them were involved with the cat. With his friend's help, Seokjin regains his memories. First, he tells his friends about his time traveling, and with one exception, they seem to understand and accept all that has happened. Then Seokjin tells the police and the press about the redevelopment project and his father's illegal activities. He's also able to save Namjoon from the container fire, ending the loops to April 11th. But we still have a few loose threads to discuss. The friend who didn't accept Seokjun's explanation is Jungkook. He's been in the hospital for most of this loop because he was hit by a car again. This time the cat has made him believe that Seokjun was the one who hit him. Jungkook begins to distrust Seokjun and all of his friends more and more until he's so full of paranoia and hate that he imagines killing his friends. Jimin finally confronts his fears, returning to the Arboretum alone and recalling what happened. When he was a child, he got lost there at the Arboretum after dark and saw another little boy being held captive and beaten by a grown man. The boy saw Jimin, but there was nothing that he could do to help him. He fled the scene and blocked his memory for many years. He finally remembered it one day when he was with Hoseok, and that's what gave him the seizure that put him in the hospital for 2 years. But now, Jimin is able to make peace with his memory and even comfort his younger self. Meanwhile, Seokjun finally learns to love himself and he returns the diary to the girl, even though he knows they'll never be together. He doesn't feel the need to be perfect anymore. The friends come together on September 30th for an annual fireworks festival, but Jungkook, who was practically dragged to join the group, doesn't accept any of it. He's fully convinced that Seokjun hit him, refuses to apologize for it, and all of his friends are covering it up like it's no big deal. Jungkook leaves, unnoticed, overlooked even by his friends. They are alive and free, but somehow they are still not together again. Fortunately, the BU isn't over. In fact, Namjoon hinted in his 2022 Sutrata interview with Yoongi that 2025 would be the 10-year anniversary of HYYH. Then, in 2023, Bang PD, Hype CEO and Big Hit founder, confirmed the BU hasn't ended. There's more yet to come. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified of even more BU content yet to come.